Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk a bit about planning and how planning is situated within this recursive model of a writer's process. So, Don Murray, in his book, A Writer Teaches Writing, he describes planning in this way. He says, a writing plan is an artist's sketch, a carpenter's plan scratched on a board, a cook's recipe that will be changed during cooking. Writing plan is not an order or a binding contract. It's an educated guess, a hunch, a suggestion. Hey, let's head for the beach. When you write, you may not get to the beach. You may stop along the way, decide to go to the mountains, run into some interesting people, and spend time with them. Food may be eaten in a restaurant or the restaurant food taken out to the picnic area, but you would not achieve the surprise without the plan. I always really rely on this particular piece that Don Murray wrote when I think about myself planning for a piece of writing. And what I typically do is I really think about where is it that I'm heading towards? Where am I going? And I might make a roadmap of how I'm going to get there, but I don't always follow that roadmap. It's the same kind of it's the same kind of mindset I have when I plan mini lessons with teaching. I have a roadmap. I have an idea of where I'm going when I teach lessons, but it's okay for me to kind of veer away from that path if something compels me to go in a different direction. But we wouldn't even be on any kind of path or roadway if we didn't have some sort of initial plan to begin with. So here's some essentials that writers need in order to get started on a piece of writing. I think when planning, writers have to have some sort of reason to write. And then that reason has to be something besides just getting a grade in the class. If we truly want our students to be engaged and um, excited about writing a piece of writing, then the reason has to be something that the writer decides upon. Secondly, they need to have some sort of interest in their topic. All of you guys probably have grown up at some point in your schooling in which you had to write, probably most things that you had to write were things that you weren't particularly interested in, but you had to write them because you were in the process of doing school. Um, I want us to try to start changing some of that mindset. Of course, there's going to be times when students are going to have to write some things that you have assigned, but we have got to find way more opportunities for them to write about interests, topics that really interest them. Third, writers have to have a purpose. They have to have a reason why they're writing, and getting a grade in class is not a good enough reason. Writers have to have an authentic audience. I think anytime you can find a way of making a piece of writing in a class for an audience other than you as the teacher, the more you get students engaged and excited about the process. So if I were to go into your classroom and ask students, who are you writing a piece for? And their responses are always, my teacher, my teacher, my teacher. We've got to broaden those audiences for our students. When I plan something, I always consider, okay, what genre am I going to write this within? Is it going to be a memoir? Is it going to be a graphic representation? Is it going to be an informational text? And finally, a planning essential is just a good idea, something that you're going to want to play around with for a while as you write. Before we even get to the planning part of it, I have to do quite a bit of work with students on developing ideas for writing. So there's lots of different kinds of exercises I do to get students engaged in writing. One is life timelines, where I get them to really think about different events, people, and places in their lives and having them chart it along some sort of life timeline. And that always provides ample opportunities for students to find topics to write about. I oftentimes will have students draw a house or a place that is significant to them. And it's really important for you to give that option. I once did this exercise in the classroom, and one of the students was homeless, and I realized right away, ooh, big mistake to say you have to draw a house. I typically will say you can draw the place where you live, or you can draw a place where you've spent a lot of time, or a place that is important to you. It could be a house, it could be a school, it could be a place of worship, it could be a relative's place. So that's another kind of generating mini lesson that you could teach students. And then finally, I'll do quite a bit of brainstorming with students about topics that are interesting to them, and this is particularly for informational writing. So I try to figure out what kids are really into. Is there a particular sport they're really into, or a particular um, hobby that they do, or what are they into outside of school that they might have a lot to say about, and we'll have a list that we generate based on those particular topics. And then for persuasive writing, I get students to ask themselves, what do you want to change in the world? Or what bothers you? Or what are some issues that affect your life? And, and what do you have to say about those issues? So it could be a whole plethora of things: bullying, animal rights, civil rights, all sorts of different types of topics that you can have students really start generating some ideas for persuasive types of topics. So I think it's really important for our students to find a significant subject. And they can do that by reflecting, by thinking about life battles or struggles, their triumphs, accomplishments, commemorations, remembrances, honoring a person who made a difference, either good or bad, informational text about important topics. I want to go back here for a second, and I want to read a piece by Don Murray, who talked about the importance of being found by a subject. And this is a handout that I have uploaded for you. And this is from his book, Shop Talk. He says, "We're a mercantile society programmed to seek rather than receive. Hit the streets, pound the beat the bushes, make hay while the sun. We are instructed to take charge, be early birds, even if we have no hunger for worms. Females, as well as males, are told to get ahead, carry the ball, cross the line, score. We are all Puritans, and we think by good work, hard, uncomfortable, unpleasant work, we shall be saved. And so we writers, like a herd of insurance salespersons, charge forth to find the subject. But the best subjects are close to us. It's our individual vision of our shared familiar world that the reader finds most informing and satisfying. And to achieve this vision, we have to be passive, patient, observing, receptive. We do not seek, but accept an un-American, un-mercantile, un-Puritan attitude. We have to be quiet and attain a state of unthinkingness in which the material flowing in through our senses, raw and uncensored, can combine with what has been stored in memory to create the unexpected connections we call creative thinking. If I do not have an idea for a column, would like to write a poem but do not feel the muse perched on my shoulder, or just think I should be writing about something new, I perform an exercise similar to the one I described in Chapter 2, sitting back with pen in hand and my daybook in my lap and brainstorm. I list whatever comes to mind, not forcing it, just letting details, facts, words, phrases fall on the page. Then I read to see what surprises, what connects. If nothing happens, I take a walk, go for a drive, put my feet up and stare at my woods, and ask myself questions such as the following ones. Try mine and then ask some of your own. What surprised me recently? What's bugging me? What do I keep thinking about? What do I need to keep thinking about? What do I appreciate that I didn't used to? What is changing in me and the world around me? What did I expect to happen that didn't? And so forth and so forth. My answers tell me what's on my mind, what's in my heart, what I have seen, felt, thought about without being aware of it. The answers tell me what I need to explore through writing. If you do this exercise, you will not find the subject. You will find many potential subjects. Pursue the seductive one, the one that is leading you on. But pursue quietly, allowing language to lead, to flow gently through you, accepting the draft as you accepted the material that became your subject. So, you're going to start planning here your multi-genre project. And as you're planning this, I want you to read through some different samples that I have uploaded, and then use your daybook to make plans for your book. Think about what are some potential topics? What's a potential purpose for my writing? Who is a potential audience? And set some deadlines for yourself. When do you want to get some different pieces created? Throughout the semester, you're going to be working through different pieces and getting feedback from peer groups. So if you were going to write a project around one particular topic, what's compelling to you? What do you need to write about? What subject is lurking trying to find you? Um, Part of planning is also doing research. So I have different multi-genre possibilities uploaded for you. I want you to read through them. Make a list of possible genres that you might be able to use for your particular project. Um, and then make a quick write plan. So list a series of different potential topics for your multi-genre project. What would be the purpose for writing about that particular topic, and who could be your potential audience? I plan in many different ways, but here's a few different ways that you could plan. You might think about doing some sort of webbing, like you see in the picture on the left. You might just do some drawing, like you see up here in the right corner, and draw out some different possibilities. You might just make a whole series of lists, or you might do some sort of outline if you're a linear thinking kind of person. I tend to be very messy in my thinking, so this bigger picture of the brainstorming map, mind mapping, is really the one I probably rely on the most when I plan out something. I just kind of dump out all the contents of my head and put it onto a page. And also, you might even consider organizing by using a graphic organizer. But here's my deal with graphic organizers, and I have some uploaded for you to download and use. I always teach graphic organizers to students as possibilities for them as writers, not as mandates. So what I do is I will show them different types of ways that they can organize their writing. And I can say, this is a possibility for you as a planner. This is not a mandate. You do not have to plan this way. But for some of you who might need a particular kind of push to help you organize your thoughts, a graphic organizer could be a great way of organizing your thoughts. And what I've seen other teachers do is introduce various graphic organizers and then create an area around the classroom where students can pull a graphic organizer if they need to use to plan for a piece, but they don't mandate that students use that. The last thing I wanted to show you was just some handouts that I have for you of different lessons that I've taught K through 12 on planning for writing. These are different handouts that you can glue into your daybook, but just different lessons that I've used for planning for writing. Having students ask themselves questions. This was a lesson that I did with a group of students, and just various other ways of planning. Here's another one that I pulled from Don Murray's work. Um, just adapted lessons based on planning. So the column exercise, question exercise, drawing trees, making lists, things like that. It's storyboarding. So those are just some lessons that you can use. You can even cut and use within your classrooms as a daybook sheet. All right, I think that's all I want to say about planning, and I hope you have a good job heading off and planning for your own pieces of writing. Thanks, everybody.